What a weekend it was for Victor James Osimhen. Yes, sir. A league champion, a league title in Turkey. Victor Osimhen, congratulations to the Nigerian. But that's not where the conversation will start from. It's the fact. Will he remain with Galatasaray or will he move elsewhere in England? It was Oliver Glasner who won the FA Cup with Crystal Palace, equaling Mikel Arteta's trophy haul in 5 years at Arsenal. Elsewhere, it is the end of the road. A new chapter awaits for Xabi Alonso as he bids farewell to Bayern Munich. Bayern Leverkusen, I beg your pardon, as it's set to take charge in Spain. And in the La Liga, it was Barcelona who were crowned champions. Yes, champions over the weekend. Of course, despite the fact that they lost. But one man, Kylian Mbappe, definitely wants to finish as the top scorer in the Spanish La Liga. And in the Italian Serie A, it goes down to the final day. Yes, because both Inter Milan and Napoli had identical matches, identical scorelines. It looks like the Scudetto is heading to Naples. Yes, Football Temple brought to you by Azar Studio. My name Abdul Kadri. I've got one man who is here with me, and he will be smiling because his master, or the master of his coach, also went trophyless. It is with honor and pride that I bring to you, I introduce to you the Otumba one of Football Temple, CEO Bauji's Media. It's good to have you join us. One thing I like about Otumba is that, always serious, he wants to win a title next season, always next season FC. Otumba, congratulations to Oliver Glasner. I know that you don't know how it feels to win a title this season. You went trophyless. Come on.
Congratulations to Crystal Palace.
But you went trophyless. You must admit
it. It just seems as if I'll have to travel home and do something to make sure that I have something to attack you with.
Almost, believe me. Now me come from where the place day.
It's all right. We'll
so I'm covered.
But in all of this, congratulations to Crystal Palace. I think they shocked me. Onkane Sam actually deserves a pack of Kunwaya because he just saw it. I don't know where he got that belief that Crystal Palace will do it. But Manchester City, from Pep Guardiola down to the last person among the backroom staff, should cover their heads in shame. Well, that was a disappointing result.
A disappointing result, of course. The big weekend review. Of course, we're looking at all of the things that transpired over the weekend in Europe. The Nigerian Premier Football League, the NPFL, of course, on break. One more game to the end of the season, and that games will take place this weekend. But we'll start with, of course, home. Let's start from the Flying Eagles. Quickly, just, 1 minute. Good one for Aliou Zubair, bronze medal, even though that's not what we wanted. Yeah. But it's better than nothing. They beat Egypt on penalties. It looks like we now have a goalkeepers for the future when it comes to penalty shooter. Whether it's Yakubu, whether it's Akot, the Nigerian national team might just be covered.
Absolutely. These are young lads that are trying to, carve a niche for themselves. They want to make a name for themselves. And I think against South Africa. He created a vacuum, and the substitute goalkeeper actually didn't cover himself in glory. And unfortunately, it didn't work out as planned because we wanted Nigeria, to add to that 8 AFCON titles that we already have in the bag. Good enough that we won bronze, and we've qualified for the World Cup, which will take place later in the year in Chile. Hopefully, the boys would have rested well, and Aliou Zubair will have to travel the length and breadth of Nigeria and maybe take a trip to Europe and some part of the world, to look out for players that are eligible to play for Nigeria, to add to the squad you already have so that, we can do very well at the Under-20 World Cup in Chile.
Well, let's go to Europe quickly, where Victor Osimhen, of course, a Nigerian-born, Nigerian player,
the Lion,
former African Footballer of the Year. And although there are questions whether he should be the next African Footballer of the Year, even though I don't think...
He should be in the conversation.
Well, it should be, but I don't think it's clear favorite. But 25th goal of the season for Galatasaray, league title for Galatasaray. But the conversation is, where should Victor Osimhen play next season? Then there was a video by a Galatasaray fan that said that the club hierarchy should give him whatever I want. That this is not even about giving him a new contract. The club should go into a partnership. They want to go into a partnership with Osimhen to keep him at the club. He scored yesterday as they won the league. He's conquered the Serie A. He's conquered the French League 1. maybe he has not conquered the German Bundesliga because when he went to Wolfsburg, he was still developing. Let me put it that way. He was developing. Many Nigerians want him to come to England. There's Manchester United. We hear there's Chelsea who are back in the conversation. We also understand Liverpool are also looking at it. If there's a possibility they can do a deal. Maybe Newcastle also, if they qualify for the Champions League, you never can say if they get rid of Isak one way or the other. But where should Victor Osimhen play his football next? Should he remain at Turkey or come to England?
For starters, I think it will be a dream that might not come true if Galatasaray fans think that Victor Osimhen will still play club football. I'm sure he has set his sight on playing in the English Premier League. And for us who are his fans, his compatriots, we want to see him play for one of the biggest teams in the Premier League. It could be Manchester United, it could be Chelsea or Liverpool. And not even ruling out Arsenal, because some Arsenal fans are actually asking the club management to go all out to go for Victor Osimhen. Galatasaray, they've tried. I think they gave him a breath of fresh air after that calamitous time he had at Napoli. And we'll continue to wax lyrical about them because they made him play football again. You know, he came back. He went to Turkey and he was doing what he loved doing. You know, that which is scoring goals. And I feel his time is up in Galatasaray. In as much as he was able to, surpass the record set by Mario Jardel a couple of years ago. Being the highest scoring foreigner in the Turkish Super League. But I think his time is done. He needs to move to pastures anew. And pastures anew for me as a person should be the English.
The argument for Galatasaray fans is that he should come and play with Icardi, win them the Champions League. Unfortunately, Icardi was injured, this season. Osimhen came in, and after like 2 or 3 games, Icardi suffered that horrific injury, ACL injury. Yeah. For Victor Osimhen, about 30 plus goals, competition for Galatasaray this season is unprecedented. He's shown that he can deliver anywhere. There were conversations of if he come Premier League, he go struggle. One thing I want to also clear is that people, they always feel, say, players, they struggle for Premier League. Osimhen will be that kind of player. Take it out of your mind that Osimhen will come to the Premier League and he will struggle. He's not that kind of striker. No. He's a proven striker. Yeah. He's a striker that has gone everywhere in his career. And one way or the other, he has shown that he is the man to deliver. In one word, Otumba, if your club, Arsenal, sign Victor Osimhen, can you promise your fans that you will win the league? Look at the camera. If your club sign Victor Osimhen, is he the man to win you people the Premier League title? Because he's a Serie A winner. He won the league title in Italy. He's won it in Turkey. The reason why he did not win with Lille was because COVID-19 cut short that season. Because if not, maybe he would have won it in Lille. And when he went to Belgium, he took a club that was little unknown. I think to Europe or thereabout, if I'm not mistaken, or put them to one of the highest positions. So he's the man that wins.
He's a Syrian winner.
He's a winner.
Yeah.
Can he win Arsenal the Premier League title if he goes to your club, Arsenal?
Without a shadow of doubt, if Arsenal are able to lay their hands on a player like Victor Osimhen, they'll win everything, every competition, from the Premier League to the FA Cup to the Carabao Cup to the Champions League and the FIFA Club World Cup.
Una no go qualify for FIFA Club World Cup for now. Una no go qualify first before you won't win FIFA Club World Cup.
They will win every trophy that is at stake, that is available. Arsenal will win it.
Even because, the President Federation.
Because they have a potent striker scoring the goals for them.
Well, you heard it from Otumba, sign Victor Osimhen, Arsenal fans, and you win everything possible, even the President Federation's Cup here in Nigeria. Let's go to the Wembley Stadium quickly, where it was Oliver Glasner 1, Pep Guardiola 0. Now, the cocky part of this conversation is that he told Pep that when next we meet, I will beat you. The man was so sure. If you go to our Twitter page, you see a video where we posted, where he told Pep that when next we meet, I will beat you. And he just did not beat him. He beat him to the title. And Crystal Palace, for the first time in their history, won a major title, winning the FA Cup. Never happened in their third attempt. They've been to two previous finals, lost both finals to Manchester United. Yeah. And when they returned against Manchester City, the noisy neighbors, it was 1-0. A goal very early in that game. Omar Mamouche missed a penalty, but they did not care. And Haaland cost in a final and at the Wembley continue with Manchester City as they failed to win Crystal Palace.
Yeah, that was a very big achievement for Oliver Glasner and his players. You know, how Oliver Glasner was able to, marshal the troops, the likes of Magay, Eze, Mitchell. We saw Munoz at right back. Ismail Assar. All those guys played very well. And kudos to Dean Anderson, who for me was the man of the match. I think he was actually given the man of the match for saving a penalty. And you could see that he actually wanted to win it. Kudos must be given to a player like Joe Ward too, who has been a faithful servant to that club. I think 13 or 14 years, and his last game in a Crystal Palace shirt ended with him winning a trophy. It's a very good one for a club based in East London. I didn't see it coming, and for the third time of asking, they won it, and it's a very big one because it was against the almighty Manchester City.
Well, it was against the almighty Manchester City for Crystal Palace. But what next for Pep Guardiola, Otumba? It's a season that he wants to forget in a hurry.
Yeah.
Terrible defense to his title. Terrible, of course, a title defense, Premier League title defense. After they lost it in the most stupid manner, I'll put it that way, because you don't complain alone about injuries. It's the fact that we are heading into match day 37. Manchester City are not guaranteed a place in next season Champions League. It tells you how bad the season has been. A back-to-back FA Cup final, 3 in a row they've gotten to the final, and a second consecutive loss at Wembley does not speak good for a manager who wants to continue to write his name in history with Manchester City.
I just feel that the time of Pep Guardiola in England is running out. I just have this belief that in no distant time from now, that man will want to leave Manchester City and leave England as a whole. He will want to try other places. Just maybe the Saudi Arabian League could come calling, because I feel he has done everything. He has seen it all as far as the English Premier League. There's absolutely no way we can talk about the top 3 coaches, the greatest coaches in the history of Premier League, without making a mention of Pep Guardiola. If he's not the first, he's definitely the second, after maybe someone like Sir Alex Ferguson. For all his achievements, this season is one to forget for him, because in all competitions, they were below par. In the Premier League, right now, they are on 65 points. When you look at the teams that are ahead of them, I'm not sure those ones want to lose guard and let other teams, override them. So they just have to keep their fingers crossed. It is what it is. Life doesn't give you what you want at all times. So they've had good memories in the past. Just maybe it's time for them to taste the other side of life.
Or if only Arsenal could have those memories in the past, and then one season will just fall off for the Gunners. Don't mind me. One thing I love is Arsenal fans are my very, very close friends, like Otumba, So if you are close to an Arsenal fan, one thing guarantees is that you always have hope that tomorrow is another better day. If you come up for house today, see something chop. Just get believe say tomorrow you go see something chop, because now waiting Arsenal fans give you guarantee.
Tomorrow will be better because we have better.
Yeah, that's why I said Arsenal. Tomorrow is always better. Before we leave Pep Guardiola, or we'll leave England quickly. Arsenal defeated, of course, Newcastle United by a goal to 0 over the weekend in the Premier League. And then Chelsea beat Manchester City. Manchester United, I beg your pardon, by the same scoreline. Marco Correa, who has been Chelsea's savior since the start of January. I don't know how a left back is becoming Chelsea's best player. All of a sudden, the likes of Kopama are not scoring goals and all of that. And then Aston Villa also ensured that Champions League football will go down the wire with a 2-0 win over Spurs, in the English Premier League. As it stands, Arsenal have still second position, and they are through to the Champions League. Congratulations to the Gunners. But for Aston Villa and Chelsea, level on points.
66.
And then going to the final day, with two of them, their fate in their hands. Aston Villa, the final game of the season, is against Manchester United.
At Old Trafford.
It's been a bad season for United. This will come after the Europa League final for United. So it's either United wants to make their fans happy and help Chelsea.
It's looking like Chelsea might just have to use the Europa Conference League as a route, to make it to Europe next season, because I feel it's more or less like an impossible task for them to beat Nottingham Forest at the City ground, because we saw they were so awesome against West Ham at the London Stadium over the weekend. 2 good goals scored by Morgan Gibbs-White and Milinkovic, the Serbian defender. And I feel that they just tried to give their fans something to cheer about after that unfortunate draw against Leicester City a couple of days ago. And we saw how the owner of the club, was very, very angry, especially with the way and manner they handled the Taiwan winning incident and all that. So it's a very good one that they got back to winning ways, and it will be very, very difficult for Chelsea because Chelsea have shown that they can be inconsistent, and it will be very difficult.
Inconsistent.
Chelsea, it will be very difficult for them to pull off any miraculous victory. It will be very difficult for them to do that because even this season they've shown that they are bad travelers. So I'm giving that one to Nottingham Forest. For Manchester United and Aston Villa, I just feel that Ruben Amorim will try as much as possible to get maximum points in that one. And we've seen that most matchups against top managers, he has been able to get some good results. We saw what he did against Pep Guardiola. I think against Slot as well. So I don't think it will be too difficult to predict that they will get the job done against Aston Villa. It's not as if Aston Villa are a bad side. I think they've shown that they are one of the best teams.
Newcastle host Everton on the final day of the season. Chelsea are fourth with 66 points. Yeah. And after playing 37 games, Aston Villa are also on 66 points after playing 37 games. Manchester City are on 65 points, but have played a game lesser, than Chelsea, Newcastle, in that regard. And of course, Nottingham Forest, who are on 65 points alongside Manchester City, have also played 1 game more. Now, this is the permutation. If Chelsea win their last game against Nottingham Forest, regardless of whatever happens, Chelsea will qualify for the Champions League. However, for Aston Villa, Nottingham Forest to qualify, it means that Newcastle United must lose their final game of the season, and any of them must win their game, including Manchester City losing their last 2 games of the season. For Aston Villa, if Chelsea loses and they don't win, they will finish below Chelsea and Nottingham Forest. Let's go to the Serie A quickly before we go, where it was a weekend where almost was the case for Internazionale, but it did not happen. They played out a 2-2 draw in their game against Pedro's Lazio. Of course, it was Pedro with the equalizer in that game.
He scored a brace, actually.
Yeah, scored twice. And then, for the other side, Napoli, who I felt had it running, back-to-back draws for Napoli again. They played out a draw in their own game, and Inter Milan could not capitalize. So we go into the final day of the Serie A, knowing fully well that for the first time in a long while, the Serie A title race will be decided on match day 38.
Yes, it was actually a very interesting match day 37. The fact that Simone Inzaghi left, the Italian capital to move to Inter Milan. Any matchup is usually more or less like a cup final, and we saw that play out at the San Siro. It was an ill-tempered game. You saw agricultural tackles flying everywhere. Bisek, the African-born German defender, put Inter Milan in front with that volley, and then Marcus Thuram, scored the second goal. When one of the Inter Milan defenders decided to have a rush of blood in his head with that unnecessary tackle in the box, and the referee pointed to the spot. Pedro dispatched from 12 yards, and that left the Inter Milan fans dumbfounded. And unfortunately, with that 1 point difference, it's looking like Napoli will get the job done against Cagliari. And even if Inter Milan are able to get the job done against Como, it might be a little too late. And as things stands right now, Antonio Conte and his troops are in good stead to win the Serie A. Well,
definitely Antonio Conte and Inter and Napoli are in a good place to win the Serie A. They currently have 79 points after 37 games, I beg your pardon, and are closely followed by Internazionale, who are on 78 points. Atlanta have also sealed Champions League qualification, third with 74 points, while Juventus will, of course, wait until the final day to see if they can't seal Champions League qualification with Roma breathing. Bologna have qualified already for Europa League after winning AC Milan in the Coppa Italia. Talking about AC Milan were beaten over the weekend. It now means by AS Roma by 3-1. It now automatically means that AC Milan, I beg your pardon, will not play European football next season. It's official. No European football for AC Milan.
For me, I think maybe other managers should copy from the books of Claudio Ranieri, who has quit the game 3 times, come out of retirement, and see what he's doing with Roma.
And he's leaving at the end of the season.
They are on an 18-game unbeaten run. What a run.
They did lose to Atlanta. They lost to Atlanta last week before beating Milan. So they lost that 18 game against Atlanta in the league.
But they've been very, very awesome. He took over the side when they were nothing fears of relegation, and see where they are right now. For me, I think they should qualify for Europe because they deserve it.
No, they will qualify for Europe.
They've done very well for themselves.
The Champions League or the Europa League that is now
they've done very well for themselves. I don't think AC Milan have done themselves any good this season. The fact that they had a change in manager didn't actually work out as planned, and the fact that they've got so many bang average players in that team, and the hype they actually didn't help them. So as things stands right now, it's looking likely that Roma will join the rest of the pack, to qualify for Europe, and other guys will watch on.
The Serie A goes down to the final day. Just for, of course, the final day of the Serie A will be definitely tough for these teams to look out for. Like rightly mentioned, Inter Milan will go away at Como. Quite a difficult game for them to, of course, face. Cesc Fabregas, of course, coach of Como, he will be targeting 50 points with Como, while Juventus, who are also targeting European football, go away at Venezia. So it will also be top. Napoli host Cagliari.
Venezia will be trying to escape relegation.
A win for Venezia automatically means that they will come out of the Lazio take on Lecce in the Serie A. So there's still plenty to play for on the final day in the Italian Serie A, whether it's relegation, whether it's the title, whether it's, of course, the league title, the qualification for Champions League and Europa League. It is still very much to play for. Only Bologna and right now, and Atlanta have nothing to play for. Atlanta have finished Champions League football. Just pride. Bologna, whether they win, lose, draw, they've qualified for Europe already via, of course, the league. Final words are Otumba, Arsenal. I want your final words to be Arsenal. Mikel Arteta said after the games that they could have won the league, if he said that the team will be back next season with a couple of additions to the squad. If what, will Arsenal win the league, Otumba?
The truth is this: Arsenal actually fluffed and shot themselves in the foot when they failed to sign a major striker in January.
So that's where I want to hear. Football Temple brought to you by Azar Studios. Remember, follow us on all social media handle, and please do subscribe to our YouTube page.